Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so bad I had to hold her. She said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. We have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Did you ever wonder why some of the biggest names in the industry seem to have mysterious feuds or dark secrets lurking behind the scenes? Well, hold on to your hats because Mariah Carey just dropped some bombshell revelations about Michael Jackson, Tommy Mottola, and even Oprah Winfrey. And let me tell you, this story is wild. From accusations of control to whispers of cover-ups, it seems there's way more to Michael's untimely passing than we ever imagined. Could Oprah really have played a role? Let's dive in. Michael Jackson and Mariah Carey, a bond like no other. Michael, who always seemed to have a protective instinct for those he cared about, had a lot to say about Mariah's hardships, especially during her marriage to music mogul Tommy Mottola. Let's rewind to 2002 when Michael, in one of his most revealing and fiery speeches, called out Tommy Mottola, labeling him the devil. That's right, the devil. Michael didn't mince words. He told the world that Mariah had come to him in tears after her divorce from Mottola, describing him as evil and accusing him of tapping her phones and keeping her under tight control. Just imagine, the songbird supreme, crying her heart out to the king of pop, about feeling trapped and betrayed by someone she once trusted. It's a story that still gives chills. But that's not all. Michael's speech wasn't just about exposing Mottola. It was about shedding light on the toxic power dynamics within the music industry. He made it clear that Mariah wasn't alone in her struggles, and that the same system trying to silence her had been coming after him too. Trouble beyond Mottola, the Oprah factor. Now, let's get into the Oprah connection. While Michael's feud with Tommy Mottola was front-page news, his alleged issues with Oprah Winfrey have always been more hush-hush, but no less intriguing. For years, there have been whispers about tension between the two, with Michael reportedly feeling that Oprah didn't have his back during some of his toughest times.
When you have that much talent, and you still gotta suck to get your demo tape approved. And this was after being, the lead background for Brenda K. Starr.
Just a demo
and building Brenda K. Starr and all of that.
Here's the thing. Oprah, with her massive influence, has shaped public narratives on countless issues. Michael, who spent most of his life under the microscope, likely felt that Oprah could have done more to support him. Instead, he reportedly saw her as someone who was quick to align herself with his critics. Could there have been some behind-the-scenes power plays going on? Well, that's the million-dollar question. And let's not forget, Mariah Carey was right there in the mix. Given her close friendship with Michael and her own battles with powerful industry figures, she likely had a front-row seat to the drama. If there was anyone who knew the truth about what Michael faced, it would be Mariah. She's been outspoken about her struggles, so it's not hard to imagine her having insider knowledge about the forces working against Michael too. A shared battle against industry giants. It's no secret that Michael and Mariah were both vocal critics of the music industry. Michael's epic takedown of Sony and Mottola wasn't just about calling out personal grievances, it was about exposing a system designed to exploit and discard artists. Mariah, who endured years of control and manipulation during her marriage to Mottola, could definitely relate. But to make things worse, their outspokenness may have made them targets. Michael's untimely passing left so many unanswered questions, and Mariah, as someone who was close to him, has continued to shine a light on the darker aspects of the industry. She's kept his legacy alive, but she's also hinted at the battles he faced, and the people who may have wanted him silenced. The allegations, a plot to take him down. At the height of his fame, Michael Jackson found himself caught in a whirlwind of allegations that seemed almost too perfectly timed. These weren't just any accusations, they were earth-shattering claims that sent shockwaves through the world and threatened to undo decades of his legacy. But Michael, always one to fight back, believed there was more to the story. He openly accused powerful industry players of orchestrating a calculated attack to strip him of his influence and destroy his career. And honestly, when you take a closer look at how it all unfolded, it's hard not to agree with him. The relentless media frenzy, the way the accusations seemed to pile on just as he was reaching the pinnacle of his power, it all seemed too orchestrated, too deliberate to be random.
Latter portion of 1993.
There were some allegations leveled at you concerning improper conduct with some young boys. I assume you're familiar with the fact that those allegations were raised. Is that right?
Yes.
In fact, there was ultimately at least 2.
But here's the real question. Who stood to gain from Michael's downfall? Think about it. When his reputation took a hit, so did his control over his art, his finances, and his voice. Those who wanted to control him, whether it was through his music catalog, his business dealings, or his public image, suddenly had the upper hand. The Diddy connection, a chilling parallel. Now, let's switch gears and talk about someone else who's faced allegations of using and discarding artists, Sean Diddy Combs. For years, Diddy has been called out by former collaborators who claim he manipulates artists for his own gain. And we're not talking about minor gripes here. These are heavy accusations from some of the biggest names in the game. Take Mace, for example. He's been vocal about how Diddy allegedly took advantage of him and other artists, claiming they were exploited and then left to fend for themselves once they were no longer useful. And Mace isn't the only one. OGs like Craig Mack and others have shared similar stories, with some even suggesting that their careers were sabotaged after they tried to break free from Diddy's influence. But that's not all. To make things worse, some of these artists didn't just fade from the spotlight, they vanished in ways that raised more questions than answers. It's a pattern that's hard to ignore, and when you compare it to what Michael faced, the similarities are downright eerie. Could Diddy have been part of the same system that sought to dismantle Michael's empire? It's a bold question, but when you consider how many artists have pointed the finger at him, it's a theory that holds weight.
You need more proof? Biggie ain't here, so Big can't give you no receipts. Craig Mack can't give you receipts. What are you talking about? Who else? Black Rob can't give you receipts. And everybody else you made sign paperwork so they can't talk about what I'm talking about. I'm the only one with the guts.
And let's not forget, Diddy isn't just a music mogul. He's someone with deep ties to the same industry Michael fought against. If Michael's allegations about a larger plot to destroy him hold any truth, it's not a stretch to imagine that Diddy, with his history of alleged exploitation, might have been connected in some way. Oprah's interview, a setup or just bad intentions? Let's rewind to 1993. Michael Jackson, already one of the most scrutinized stars in the world, sat down with Oprah Winfrey for what was supposed to be a groundbreaking interview. With millions watching, it looked like Michael was finally getting the chance to tell his side of the story. But let's be real, was this interview really about giving Michael a voice? Watching it now, it feels more like an ambush disguised as journalism.
Out of singing, wait. Yeah. And when you are, for instance, when we were here before,
Oprah didn't hold back. She grilled Michael on everything, and I mean everything, from his changing skin tone to his personal relationships, to those never-ending rumors about plastic surgery. It was clear she came ready to dig deep. But here's the thing. The tone of her questions wasn't curious or neutral. It was probing, skeptical, and borderline accusatory. It didn't feel like she was trying to understand Michael. It felt like she was trying to corner him.
Just recently there was a story, and I know one of your attorneys held a news conference. There was a story about you wanting to have a little white boy play you in a Pepsi commercial.
That is so stupid. That's the most ridiculous, horrifying story I've ever heard. It's crazy.
Take the vitiligo discussion, for example. Michael explained how the condition had affected his skin, causing him to lose pigment over time. But Oprah's reaction? She hit him with, "So you're saying this isn't cosmetic?" in a tone that basically screamed disbelief. Michael's fans were furious, accusing Oprah of dismissing his struggles and feeding into the tabloid narratives instead of dismantling them. The questions that crossed the line. But that wasn't even the worst part. Oprah dug into Michael's personal life, asking questions that made him visibly uncomfortable. At one point, she even asked if he was a Seriously? For someone already battling relentless scrutiny, that question felt wildly inappropriate. And then came the big one. Oprah implied that Michael's friendships with youngins were unusual, planting seeds of suspicion in the minds of millions watching.
I'm going to ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you?
How could you ask me that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
Michael, clearly caught off guard, tried to explain. He said he found comfort in children's innocence, a stark contrast to the harsh realities he'd faced growing up in the spotlight. But Oprah kept pushing, steering the narrative in a way that left many feeling like she was setting him up rather than seeking clarity. It wasn't just a tough interview, it felt like a calculated move to chip away at Michael's credibility. The fallout, coincidence or something bigger? And here's where things get even murkier. Just months after that interview, the first major allegations against Michael hit the headlines. Now, was this just a coincidence? Some fans don't think so. Many believe that the seeds Oprah planted during that interview made it easier for people to believe the accusations when they surfaced. It was like the narrative had already been framed, and Michael was left scrambling to defend himself.
Skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, there, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear, always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons.
The timing, way too convenient. And let's not ignore the fact that Oprah's platform at the time was massive. Her show wasn't just entertainment, it shaped public opinion. By the time the allegations rolled in, the damage to Michael's reputation had already begun, thanks to that interview. Diddy's role, a power player with something to hide. Now let's bring in another name that always seems to pop up when the whispers of industry drama get loud: Sean Diddy Combs. According to allegations, Diddy wasn't just a bystander watching from the sidelines during Michael Jackson's downfall. Oh no, he was allegedly playing an active role, with some even calling him a power player pulling strings behind the scenes. And here's where things get even messier. Mariah Carey hinted that Oprah may have used Diddy as her foot soldier in her alleged mission against Michael. If that's true, it changes everything. Michael knew too much. Michael wasn't afraid to speak out about the darker side of the music industry, especially when it came to how black artists were treated. He openly criticized how executives exploited performers, often leaving them with little to no control over their own careers. But he didn't stop there. Michael alluded to a puppet master operating behind the scenes, someone who used their power to silence artists who dared to push back.
So you know this is a really sad time right now, but we're celebrating his life. Your thoughts right now on the situation and the timing of this tragedy?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's just somebody that changed my life, you know what I'm saying?
Now, here's where Diddy comes in. As someone who rose to fame under Clive Davis, another powerful figure in the music world, Diddy was no stranger to these dynamics. According to some sources, Michael had dirt on Diddy's meteoric rise. Dirt that, if exposed, could have shaken Diddy's empire to its core. Could it be that Diddy had a reason to keep Michael quiet? Some believe so, and the whispers only get louder when you consider Diddy's ties to Oprah.
Yeah, have you had a chance to work with Michael Jackson? And if so, or even if not, do you have any stories about Michael that you might care to share? Maybe the first time.
Was Diddy involved in Michael's final days? But that's not all. There are even murmurs suggesting Diddy may have been involved, or at least present, during Michael's final days. It's a chilling thought, especially when you factor in the long-standing rumors about Diddy's role in controlling narratives within the industry. Some fans point to alleged connections between Diddy's inner circle and members of Michael's former security team as further evidence that his involvement wasn't coincidental.
So how does this relate to Diddy? Diddy, his head security, his name is Fahan, I think. And Fahan, when Michael Jackson died, before he died, he was Michael Jackson's head security. Fahan, he's like the Lester, people are saying, in GTA. Whenever employed by Diddy, and you get into police or you get pulled over, you called Fahan, he'll get you out of everything.
And let's not forget, Diddy's reputation in the industry has been anything but squeaky clean. Stories of manipulation, exploitation, and shady dealings have followed him for years. If Michael truly had information that could have exposed him, it's not hard to imagine why Diddy might have felt the need to protect his own interests. The alleged alliance between Oprah and Diddy. Here's the kicker. If Mariah Carey's allegations are to be believed, Oprah didn't just work alone in her alleged takedown of Michael. She had allies, and Diddy might have been one of her most loyal soldiers. Their long-standing friendship and mutual power within the entertainment industry make this theory all the more plausible. Could Oprah have leaned on Diddy to help carry out her alleged plan? It's a question that fans and conspiracy theorists alike can't seem to shake. The connections are too deep, the whispers too loud to ignore. From Michael's accusations of exploitation to Diddy's own track record of silencing dissent, it all starts to paint a very disturbing picture. And if this alliance was real, then Michael didn't stand a chance against the forces working to bring him down. Latoya Jackson's explosive claims, Michael was unalived, And if you thought the theories couldn't get any darker, Latoya Jackson's explosive claims about her brother Michael's death take it to a whole new level. For years, she's been sounding the alarm, insisting that Michael's untimely passing was no accident. In her eyes, it wasn't a case of bad luck or poor health, but a deliberate, calculated move to silence him. Latoya has never shied away from sharing her suspicions. According to her, Michael was surrounded by individuals who didn't care about him, but cared a lot about the money he generated. She's publicly stated that these people saw Michael as worth more dead than alive, and used that twisted logic as their justification for taking him out. It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
And that's when Michael passed. When I found out he had actually passed, I said, no, it wasn't an accident. He was
a shadowy circle in Michael's final days. But that's not all. Latoya has claimed that there was a shadowy group pulling strings behind the scenes, keeping the Jackson family away from Michael in the critical moments leading up to his death. According to her, these individuals forced him into situations that only escalated his physical and emotional distress, ultimately leading to his demise. And here's the part that'll make your stomach drop. She insists that she won't rest until the full truth comes out. This isn't just about Michael's death. It's about exposing a system that uses and discards artists once they've served their purpose.
Diddy was connected to Michael Jackson's death. We all know Michael Jackson hated the industry, the rap, because on an award show, he went up and when he got his award, he's like, these artists do so much and these companies take advantage of them. And he's like, I'm leaving, I think it was Sony he basically owns Sony. So he's like, I'm leaving, I don't think they'll like this.
Now, here's where things get even murkier. Fans and conspiracy theorists alike have pointed out the eerie similarities between Michael's death and other suspicious Hollywood tragedies. And wouldn't you know it, Diddy's name keeps popping up in conversations about mysterious deaths and manipulative behavior in the industry. Could Diddy have been linked to the same forces Latoya believes were behind Michael's death? It's a question that's hard to ignore, especially when you consider the long list of accusations against Diddy. So, after hearing all of this, you have to ask yourself, was Michael Jackson the target of a much bigger conspiracy involving some of the most powerful names in the entertainment world? Could Diddy have played a part in silencing him, given the rumors about Michael knowing too much? And was Oprah really working behind the scenes to push a narrative that helped bring the king of pop down? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because this story has layers. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you're always in the loop. And hey, check out the next video on your end screen. It's packed with even more jaw-dropping revelations.